in our own galaxy. And I should say the one that happened in February 1987 was not in our own Milky Way. It was in a nearby galaxy called the Large Magellanic Cloud. But if a supernova did happen in our own Milky Way, well, you can imagine that it would be pretty bright. If a supernova happened in our own Milky Way, it would be so bright you could see it with no naked eye. It would be so bright that you could see it in broad daylight. It would be so bright that you could read by it. It would be so bright that it would actually cast a shadow. Now, does anyone actually recall in your lifetimes anything like that happening in the night sky? A star that was so bright you could read by it at night? Probably not. But unbelievably, this has happened, and it's happened many times. So fortunately, astronomy is a very old science, and there have been astronomers going back thousands of years, keeping very careful records. And even though nothing like that has happened in our lifetimes, we do have very detailed written records of supernovae observed by normal people here on Earth that were so bright that you could read by them at night. So here are some of the historical records of these events. So here are two very different historical records of the same event. Both of these record a very famous supernova that happened on the 4th of July in the year 1054. So this is the North American version. This is a cave painting or a pictogram made by the Anasazi people, and you can go and see this. This is my own photograph from Chaco Canyon in New Mexico. And so our basic understanding of what they painted here was that the hand symbol simply indicates that this is something important. This was the location and phase of the moon on the night that it happened, and here is the location of the star that suddenly appeared in the sky. And if you look at your standard sort of astronomy software and look at what the night sky looked like on the 4th of July 1054, then the moon was indeed in this shape near the horizon, and this is the constellation of Taurus. And here is the same thing by the Chinese astronomers. The Emperor of China had a court astronomer whose job it was to study the sky and make astrological predictions, and so they kept very careful, detailed records that point to the same thing. And there's many other records from all over the world, all saying they saw this incredibly shining light on the 4th of July, 1054. Now it's fascinating to actually read the records, because in some ways they're not that different from what an astronomer would write right now if they saw the same thing. So let me show you a translation from another Chinese one. By far, most of these records are from the Chinese. And so here's a translation of another event that happened in the year 386, so 1600 plus years ago. So what they wrote is in the Zhongping reign period of Emperor Ling, 2nd year, 10th lunar month, day 60, a guest star appeared within Nanmen. Now this is exactly what it's the same, except that it's not in ancient Chinese anymore. But otherwise, it's exactly the same as the emails I get almost every day when someone discovers some distant supernova. The very first thing the email will say is it will give me the date of the measurement, and it will tell me the coordinates in the sky. Now these days, of course, the date is some precise atomic time, and the coordinates are right ascension and declination, but the ancient Chinese didn't know about such things, and so they've given exactly the same description. So the date, the Zhongping reign period of Emperor Ling, 2nd year, 10th lunar month, day 60. Well, if you know your Chinese emperors, that's all you need to convert it to a particular date in the year 386. A guest star, meaning a star that wasn't there previously, appeared within Nanmen. Now Nanmen translates to the southern gate. It's a very famous pair of stars called the Pointers. Anyone who's seen the southern sky will know the Pointers. They're two stars, Alpha and Beta Centauri, which are right next to each other, and they're saying that this star appeared pretty much in between them. So that's not as precise as our modern coordinate system, but it's pretty good. It tells us pretty much exactly where in the sky this happened. Okay, so far there's absolutely no difference between a Chinese astronomer from the year 386 and a modern astrophysicist today. Well, let's keep going. The next part is also exactly the same as what a modern astronomer would write. So they said it was as large as half a mat. It showed the 5 colours, it was both pleasing and angry.